Just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. The conditions probably could have been a little bit better, but appreciate you coming. We are a wellness practice, so anything we can do that can naturally help you with the body, that's what we're going to push for. So I think this fits right in with what Michelle and I believe. So appreciate you coming out, sharing your expertise. This is definitely an area that I don't have a lot of expertise, so I really appreciate it. And, just appreciate it.
Great. So how many here are seasoned oilers? My name is Melissa Johnson. You're a seasoned oiler. Y'all are using your oils, okay? How many are new to oils? This might be your first time in a class, a workshop. Your very first time. Wow, fantastic. This is exciting. Okay. And, well, what I'm going to tell you is that I've got something for each of you. Even if you've been in the oils for quite a while, the things that I have in here are good for the new person, and they're good for all of us that have been doing the oils for a while. I haven't even been in the oils for a year, but I fell so in love with them that I just study them. I study the oils. I study the Bible. I look for references. I look outside, my box, and I make sure that I read everything that's out there in order to be well-rounded and well-versed in the oils. So I will have something for each of you. I think it's interesting. My husband brought this up the other day, is that in Genesis it says that Adam was created and placed into a garden where he was to live forever. He wasn't created in the garden. He was placed in the garden. And in that garden, he was going to live forever. He was going to have a garden, and he was going to have everything at his disposal for food, for medicine, for everything that he needs. Come on in. And so God placed him there. And I find that really interesting that once you're placed into a garden, there's enough there that it would have had he not fallen into sin, kept him. He would have lived forever. He brushed up against the flowers and the trees, and the oils from those penetrated his skin. I mean, if you think about how lush this garden must have been, and how beautiful the aromas and the food being all natural, and the taste would be unreal, and just the fact that when you walk through the garden, you could brush up against it, and the oils from those plants would go into your skin. So I found that really interesting as I was reading that we were to live forever in a garden. Sin took us out of that, and then we were, guess what, placed into thorns and thistles. But God knew that we couldn't survive in thorns and thistles. He knew that would be very hard, and so he gave us pieces of the garden in this current world that we live in, and we're to use those for our wellness, for our well-being. He knew that we were fragile, both physically and mentally, and we'll get into that a little bit more in a little bit. He knew that we need the garden and everything it had to offer. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and give a little disclosure, is that what it's called? There are certain things that I can't say, all right? The FDA has not endorsed essential oils. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a pharmacist. I can't tell you what's wrong with you, and I can't tell you how to get better. Okay, that's not in my job description. I will tell you that when you look through a reference guide, you will find studies at universities. You will find studies by scientists and what they have said that these oils, not me, but scientists. The FDA hasn't endorsed it, but there's scientific evidence to back much of this. If you have health issues, go see your doctor. I'm not the doctor. Okay? While we're talking on FDA compliance, let me say that the statements here tonight are testimonies. All right? They are experiences we've seen or heard about or had ourselves. You may or may not have the exact same experience. Okay, so by going by anything that anybody else says, you need to actually study the oils yourself, try them yourself, learn about them yourself. It's very important that you actually delve into educating yourself on these oils, and then finding out what works for your body. Okay? Back to the garden. I'm going to give you a little bit of my oils testimony. My mom gave me a book, container garden book. And I was so excited. It was so beautiful. And these container gardens, I was going to plant every herb and flower that I needed to make a tea for my hot flashes, because they were horrible. My hot flashes were so debilitating. So I was going to plant this container garden, and it was not only going to be lovely, but I was going to reap the benefits of it, drink tea, and be better. So that was my original plan. And I still think it's a lovely idea. But then I saw how much it was going to cost to plant this container garden. And I don't have a green thumb, and I don't know how long my plants are going to live. And even if they do live, am I going to get enough sustenance from those plants? And can I drink enough tea to actually help my concern? And after I found out how much tea I would need to drink, I knew that I was in trouble and this wasn't going to work. Other than being a very lovely piece on my patio, it wasn't going to meet my concerns. Tea's great, it's healthy, drink it, but what I needed was something more. So then I was invited to a book club, and it was a ladies' book club, and they were reading Finding Favor with the King, and it was about the purification process of queens, and all that she had to go through, the process she had to go through. She ingested oils and spices. She bathed in them. They diffused it in her garments. I mean, have you ever been around somebody that ate Doritos or garlic? Okay, well, this is much better than that. But the same thing applies, is that it came out of her pores. It's a purification process. It is a process. It's a slow process. It took Queen Esther a full year to go through this process of eating it and having it to the point that it came out of her pores. It's such a cleansing. And I found this so fascinating. I wanted to know more. So I went to Target. And I thought, I'm going to look at every product here. And something that has essential oils in it, because I know that I need these essential oils that Queen Esther had. And I get to Target and I'm looking for anything that has that in it. And I found some lotion, something like that with some frankincense in it, and I bought it, and we still have it. And, but it's not quite what I was looking for. I had this longing, this desire to know more about these oils that Queen Esther used, that the Middle East still uses today. Because also in that book was the author was at a hotel for a conference, and there were robes around him, lots of people with robes and scarves and head coverings. And it was very interesting. And he got onto the elevator. And at the same time, this group of people were on the elevator. And when they got off and the door closed, he looked at the lady that worked there and said, "Oh, my goodness, these people smell so good." And she says, "This is nothing. You haven't smelled anything. They have diffusers going into their clothes. They put it in their food. And they apply it to themselves." And so this is fascinating to me. I've got to know more. I've got this yearning. I've got this desire. I want to know more about these oils that the Bible talks about. Okay, so next thing you know, Bridget right there, she invites me to her home for dinner. And it was Mother's Day, and we're new in town. We don't have any family around. It's just my husband and I and my daughter. And so we're real thankful we invited her for Mother's Day. And we have dinner right at the table with their family. And after dinner, everybody goes into the living room and they start passing around the oils. And I'm like, are these the oils like from the Bible? Like Queen Esther? And she's like, yeah, they are. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to know about this. This is what I have been looking for. I want to know about these oils. Well, my husband's with, and he's just like, oh my goodness, my wife is on another, because I'm into a lot of natural things. I like baskets, and I like things all natural. I like wildflowers. I like fields. I like prairie grass. I need things that are just natural. And so he just goes in the other room. He won't come in the other room. And we pass around the oils, and I put them on, and I just feel so good. And the next time we were at her house, I think we would do that again. Pass around the oils. I said, will you come try these oils? By the time we left, he's like, oh my goodness, you've got to be kidding. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, these are wonderful. And he was so relaxed. But he still wasn't sold on the whole idea. He's just kind of like, okay, my wife's going through another phase. Well, he's in the truck, and we're heading down the road, and I kid you not, he has these sneezing fits. We've been married for over 25 years. He gets these sneezes that don't stop, and they're really annoying. I mean, when you're young married, you're like, oh, okay, let's try some medicines, let's do this. But by this point, you're like, you don't have anything with you, you should have brought something with you. And I say, can I try the oils on you? And he's like, yes, So he puts out his hand, I put a drop of lavender in his hands. And he rubs his hands like this. And he stops. And he has been using the oils ever since. He has his own little container of oils that he takes every day. He always makes sure he has thieves, he has his lavender, he has valor. My husband works in such a position where sometimes he has to go into stressful situations, confront employees and things like that. And he's really nice. And he's a really nice guy, and it's real hard for him to be confrontational. But that's the position the Lord's put him in, and that's what he does. So he puts that valor on him. And he says it straightens his spine, just feels a sense of confidence. And my daughter, she speaks at college, and she puts valor on as well before she speaks. But my whole family is into these oils. They laughed at me, and now they are using them. All right, we are going to get into the biblical oils. I've referenced a lot of the teaching tonight from this book. There's a lot of information here. I could not possibly cover it all. This is why I say it's up to you to actually delve into the oils and read about them and understand them and study them and try them and see what works best for you and what you need. I'll go into the reference guide as we're going. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this reference guide real quick because we're going to use this today. All right. And this is like, you ever go to a pharmacy and get a prescription and it tells you how to take that medicine? And then they also shoot out a bunch of sheets telling you warning, 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 warning. Okay, well, this is kind of what this is. This is your directions. This is how to use your oils. This is important. You can't use something without any directions. You've got to have directions. This is what you use. This is one of them. There's other ones out there. This is one of them, and this is my favorite. This goes into all kinds of information that we will go over as I'm presenting. It tells you how to use them, how to use the oils, how to look up concerns are in the back of the book, and then the single oils and blends are right up here. Okay, just talk to your upline, downline to discuss this book if you need help. I'm not going to go into great depth tonight, but let me just tell you that you do need one. And if you need help learning how to use it, I'll help you. Somebody here will help you. Okay. Didn't y'all think that this sheet, the invitation was fantastic? I just loved it. I just thought that was so great. And each one of these things that they put on here is so important, and each one requires studying. And if you want to know what to study, here's a great place to start. And you can find most of the answers in the book that I showed you. Is there any sick among you? Let him call for the elder of the church and let them pray over him and anoint him with oil in the name of the Lord. On the third day of creation, the Lord created plants. And while it was on the sixth day that he created man. Essential oils distilled from plants are nature's living energy. Essential oils are used for anointing the sick since before Christ. This is something that is Old Testament and New Testament. It's mentioned in over 180 scriptures in the Bible for health or healing. In the beginning, when God created plants on the third day, and he created man and woman on the sixth day, in Genesis 1:13 and 26-31. Proverbs 21:20 says, there's a treasure to be desired, an oil in the dwelling place of the wise. Oil is specifically mentioned 191 times in the Bible, but there are over 600 references to essential oils and or the 33 species of plants they come from. Essential oils are referred to as fragrances, odors, ointments, aromas, perfumes, or sweet savors. But if you were to write a book about yourself or about the time that you lived, if you were to write a book or a story about your life, tell me something. Would you write anything about, we took this white goo and we put it on a stick with little bristles sticking out of it. And what was in this white goo was a poison, so don't swallow. Okay? You see where I'm going? Sometimes people say, well, yeah, the Bible talks about ointments and aromas and oils and stuff, but it doesn't go into great detail. Well, it was common. They knew about it. It's something that they assumed that the reader would know about these oils. So when you're looking through the Bible and you're wondering why there's not great detail, that's why we have to go to history and we have to learn some more about it. There are two types of oils that plants make. One is the essential oil. That's what we're going to really talk about tonight, but I kind of want you to know the difference. The essential oil is created to circulate within the plant to carry oxygen and nutrients to yourself, to the plant cells. It enters our bloodstream and can cross the blood-brain barrier. The molecules are small enough to penetrate the cells, to get inside of our cells. Now, there's also other plants that create fatty oils, and that's like olive oil, almond oil, things like that. Carrier oils is what, when you're looking at essential oils and stuff, when they talk about carrier oils, they're talking about the fatty oils. The fatty oils don't cross the blood-brain barrier. They do just what we just said. They carry the essential oil. Okay, and you apply it, and it gets absorbed into your skin and into your bloodstream. Okay, because the molecules are too large to penetrate our skin, so it cannot cross the blood-brain barrier. The essential oils will literally push chemicals out of your cell. They have the highest level of oxygenating activity of any substance known to man. Oxygen pushes toxins out and pulls potassium back in, reestablishing normal cell balance. At this point in time, there's been no virus that has been created that can create an immunity against essential oils, nor would there need to be, but there hasn't been. Research shows that they are antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, and immune stimulating. That's research. Remember, I'm not saying that this is something that okay. So they're very important. They're exactly what we need in our lives. Essential oils. This is one of my favorite parts. This is exciting. Okay. Essential oils have frequencies of 52 to 320 megahertz. Our bodies are electrical. If we were to create a circle and we had a circuit between two people and we all connected hands, it would light up a light bulb because the energy within our bodies. Okay, if anybody let go, the light bulb wouldn't light up. Okay, so we have energies in our bodies. Our bodies, the brain itself generates 25 watts of power. Our brains, 25 watts of power, enough to light up a light bulb. The average body frequencies range 62 to 68 megahertz. Remember, I just said that the essential oils have a frequency of 52 to 320 megahertz. If disease enters your body, your electric energy is lower to around 50 megahertz. Okay? Flu, 57. Candida, 55. Cancer begins at 42 megahertz. So if your energy is lower to that, your body's not able to function. It's not able to protect you. Okay, and the Epstein bar is at 52. Death begins at 25. Okay, so if you don't have enough energies to help your body to take care of itself, disease sets in. All right, and this is why I'm a strong believer in being proactive with my oils. I'm proactive. I don't wait for sickness to come upon me. I diffuse regularly. I anoint myself every morning. And this is a practice. I know that some people wait until they get sick and then they use the oils. And just like anybody that's ever used oils for the first time, they're surprised every time. And so am I. Even though I've been doing it a while, I was telling Bridget, I said, my back was hurting me for 2 days. And finally today I said, you know what? I'm going to have to put some oils on. And my daughter's like, what? be kidding. You haven't put any oils on it in 2 days. You've been walking around here complaining like everybody else, you know? And so I put it on and I'm like, oh, well, that's better. Why didn't I think of that 2 days ago? But, you know, I may anoint myself, but I didn't think to apply my oils to my back. And when I did, I felt better. Okay, this is really, really interesting. 1 drop of essential oil contains approximately 40 million trillion molecules. Numerically, that's a 4 with 19 zeros after it. We have 100 trillion cells in our bodies, so 1 EO drop, 1 essential oil drop, is enough molecules to cover every cell in our bodies with 40,000 health-building molecules. Okay, so that's where that energy comes from. Okay, just 1 drop, you put that in you to begin the process of your body having some strength to heal itself. The original healers were priests. You know, people went into the temple and they were prayed for. And the Bible says, don't give this to anybody else. This is for my people. The Bible says that. It says it's not something that you just give away. It's for the priests. The priests are to use that. But who are the priests? The priests are us. Okay, well, today we're the priests, all right? And that is, we are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. We are God's own chosen race. We have the authority to anoint. To anoint means to cover, to rub, to smear the head or the body with oil. I'm sure you've all read and heard the Bible stories where they pour the oil. I've done this. Okay, I've been so sick that I took my oils and I poured them over my head. And yes, I got better. The Hebrew word for anoint is masach, and it's very similar to the English word massage. The Hebrew term masach is also the root term Messiah. The New Testament was in Greek, and the Hebrew word Messiah is Christos, or Christ, and it appears 361 times. And Christos literally means anointed one. So when you call on the name of Christ, you're calling on the anointed one. And this is a very interesting part. Remember I said that we were placed, Adam was placed in the garden, okay? And when he was taken out of the garden, not only was his health compromised, physical, you know, he's going to have to labor in the fields, be among the thistles. Life became burdensome for them. And that messes with your mind as well. You know, sometimes your physical concerns affect your emotional and mental concerns. And the reverse is also true. Your mental concerns can make your health deteriorate. So the oils were not just for our physical well-being, but God had a plan to help our mental well-being. We have 4 senses. We have the sense of touch, taste, sight, and hearing. And they don't directly stimulate our emotions. They pass their signals to the frontal lobes of the brain first and reach the emotional brain second. But our noses are wired differently, and that's why aromatherapy is so important. Because when you anoint yourself, you are better before you feel better. But when you inhale the aroma or have the diffuser going, you are better, or you feel better before you are better. It goes reverse because we inhale that and it goes in there and it stimulates our brain. How do something great is happening? You ever walk into somebody's house and they've got candles lit? And those candles are made from petroleum oils. So you're not only breathing something that smells like an essential oil, but you're also breathing in petroleum. But you say, but my nose likes it. Because your nose is being cooled. It thinks it's something good for you. It thinks that some help is on its way. And it's not. So when you walk into a candle shop, everybody loves candle shops, right? And you smell that, you feel better. But it's kind of a trick because it's not really what your body is needing or wanting. It's disguised in petroleum products. Oh, I threw my jewelry off. So one of the first oils we're going to talk about is an emotional oil. The aroma of essential oils touch our emotions in ways that cannot reach them by any other means. Thank you. Oils of joy is a blend of essential oils used in biblical times. Including rosewood, jasmine, Roman chamomile, and this is one of my favorite oils. And the way that you use these oils, you just put a drop in here. Before I am there, so inhale first, and then you apply. However you want to apply. Some people apply it here. Now, like I said, that book tells you areas in your body to anoint for certain effects, for certain concerns. And today we're just doing this for emotional reasons. But you'll find the benefit no matter what. And that is joy. It makes you feel good. I love to have joy in my classes. I have it diffusing right now. I like to have joy going in my home. I like to anoint myself before I go to church with joy. I want a feeling of gladness, and I find that joy gives that to me. Psalms 45:7 suggests that among the oils of joy were myrrh, aloes, or sandalwood, and cassia. Many other oils in the biblical times were also elevating. Psalms 45:7-8. Therefore God, thy God, hath anointed thee with oil of gladness above thy fellows. All thy garments smell of myrrh, aloes, and cassia out of the ivory houses whereby they have made thee glad. Doesn't that make you just want to go home and put these oils in sheets? I just think it sounds like it just smells wonderful, and it does. Proverbs 27:9. Ointment and perfume rejoice the heart. Solomon said this. Isaiah 61:1-3. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings to the meek, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning. I have a good friend in Bossier City whose father passed away. He passed 8 months. And her mom has struggled. And I know, I've seen my mom go through the same thing. It's very hard. She calls me and she says, I'm going to put joy into the diffuser. She says, how much do I use? I said, well, it kind of depends on how big your room is. You know, if you have a smaller room, I'd say like 4 drops. If it's a large room, closer to 8 drops. And she says, okay. So I don't know how much she put in, but she texts me and she says, well, my husband and my son says it's too strong, and my mom says I can't smell it. So it's definitely a personal. You just kind of got to play with it until you get it to where you want it. Hebrews 1:9. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore God, even thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness. She mentioned something here. This is from Sonia. She mentioned here, communicate with the Lord is the pineal gland, which is inside your brain. That's why I anoint myself a lot of times right here in the nape of my neck, especially when I'm in meditation, is to get that into that center. Sonia also told me that the quickest way to get it to that gland is right in the roof of your mouth. Apply the oil right up in the roof of your mouth to get it up there. And I'll tell you what, it happens fast. It gets in there really fast. And you can walk into the presence of the Lord feeling glad and feeling good. Absolutely wonderful. And by the river, upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to his months, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine. That's in Ezekiel 47:12. So Scripture has stated continuously that these are for you. Plants are for you. Okay? And I'm going to really show that I'm not a doctor or pharmacist right here. Okay? 3 important constituents of the oils. phenols, or what he said, create an environment where unfriendly viruses and bacteria cannot live. Even more importantly, they clean the receptor sites of the cells. Without clean receptor sites, cells cannot communicate, and the body malfunctions, resulting in sickness. So when Sonia was here, I thought that was a great demonstration. She had a balloon, and she put circles on it, and she colored in some of those circles. And that's our receptors. They're coated with things that keep not only the nutrients out, but they can't let anything go out of them. They can't receive their nutrients. They can't let anything out. And so you need those receptors clean, kind of like keeping your car well oiled, keeping it running well, keeping your spark plugs clean. You know, we're the same way. We're built the same way. We've got to keep our receptors communicating, because if they can't communicate, they can't tell your body what it needs. I'll notice that I may know what I want, but sometimes I'll say, well, like I told Bridget one time, I'm like, I need sesquiterpenes. Yeah, and I just said that to her. The next thing you know, Sonia tells me, let's do a Zyto scan on you. And I did a Zyto scan. Guess what? It did. I didn't even know what that meant. I can't even say it. So sometimes our bodies know what we need, and we don't quite know. And those sesquiterpenes deliver oxygen molecules to cells like hemoglobin does in the blood. And it can also erase or deprogram miswritten codes in cellular memory. It has the ability to go beyond the blood-brain barrier. How exciting is that? I find that so exciting. Montropenes? Okay, reprogramming miswritten information in the cellular memory, DNA. Our bodies, when they have something go wrong, they adjust. Okay, they learn to rewire so that they can function. They'll pull their source from something else. It's kind of like weight. Okay, why does that happen? Because it doesn't know what to do with it. It's got to do something with it. It stores it. Okay, and so our bodies learn to just kind of maneuver around whatever the problem is. But the oils come along and they clean that out, and all of a sudden it's functioning right, and so your DNA is put back into the right order. It's able to function in the capacity it's supposed to function. Okay, so that's what these oils do. That's their scientific explanation. Okay, there's 3 really popular healing oils of the Bible. Exodus 2 is very similar to the holy anointing oil given to Moses. And it was to protect the Israelites from plague. Kind of interesting, isn't it, that we're always fighting plagues? And, you know, this has been going on all the way through the Bible, and we see it throughout history and even in our day right now. We also have thieves. That's a very popular one. That was 15th century thieves who rubbed oils on themselves to avoid getting the Black Plague. I thought it was interesting that Sue always teaches that, and she got that from history, that when they would get arrested for robbing from the dead and dying, they would were able to get away from being captured by giving the recipe. And the recipe of thieves is as close as we know to that recipe we used back then, so that they could go and pilfer and not actually get the plague. And the last one that's a very popular healing oil is 3 wise men, which is kind of more of a when the kings went to the baby Jesus, they brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay, and so they've actually taken that frankincense and myrrh and created the 3 wise men. And so it's comforting. It's and frankincense and myrrh have great ability, and we will learn about these oils as we go. Exodus 2. What is it? Okay. Did you bring your thieves? I did bring mine, but there's not much in it. And I don't have Exodus 2. Do you?
I think it's in there, isn't it?
No, it's not in the it's not in the biblical oils. These are outside. We're going to get to those, I promise. But I think that we should know what we need to strengthen our bodies with all the things that go around, okay? And this is thieves. This is my husband's favorite. He likes this to be diffused in his closet. It's just it's just a really good smell. And again, this is what they used to protect themselves from the Black Plague, which was similar to some of the sicknesses we have nowadays. And it is in the history books. And this is as similar as we can get. So remember, we smell it and we feel better before we are better. Okay, and this is thieves. It's highly antiviral, antiseptic, antibacterial, anti-infectious oils. And I told you where it came from. When diffused for 12 minutes, it kills 99.96% of germs in the field. And you realize that how do you normally get sick when you go in public? I mean, yeah, you touch things sometimes, but a lot of times it's in the air. It's in what you breathe. And so diffusing is necessary to get these oils into that part of your body so that it can fight off the sicknesses that you breathe in. I don't have 3 wise men. That was 12 minutes. In 12 minutes. I mean, I diffuse mine till it turns off.
Of course.
And then I add some more.
Sure.
Okay, so the 3 wise men is an oil blend that contains frankincense and myrrh, and it's 2 of the gifts that the 3 wise men brought to the Christ child. All oils in it are mentioned in the Bible except spruce. Spruce was used during biblical times by soldiers to give them courage when going into battle, which is the same as that valor. Valor is a blend that has a high concentration of spruce and has even been documented to stimulate one's spine to self-adjust. Isn't that exciting? Okay, I gotta tell you a story. I gotta tell you this story. I was at this volleyball meet, and this lady is hurting really bad, and I'm not taking away from that at all. She was hurting really bad, and about that time, my husband had one of those sneezing things on its way in. He hadn't quite gotten it. He knows when it's going to happen, and he's like, "Did you bring the lavender?" And I know that when he says that, to grab the lavender. So I grab it, I give it to him. He does his thing, and it goes away. And this lady says to me, she says, "Are those essential oils?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, they are." She says, "Do you sell them?" And I said, "No, ma'am, I don't, but I do teach them." She says, "What could you teach them?" So I did. I had acted with that, and I told her that it's been known as the chiropractor of oils because it strengthens your spine and then more in the battle, and you have confidence. And she cracked up, and she says, "You are just telling me lies and fibs. You are crazy." I said, "Okay, I'm going to leave some oils sitting here, and I'm going to go lunch. And I want you to take those oils, and I want you to put them on whatever's hurting you right now." She cared a lot. And so I said, "Don't lose them. I mean, they're 15 milliliter, okay, and there's 6 of them." And
Wow.
yeah, I said, "Just 1 drop of each one." I'm very concerned. I come back and she's walking in and sitting down, and she looks at me and she goes, "You have gone." She says, "I feel much better." She says, "Now we're gone." Now, the first time that I ever had some oils that Bridget gave me, when I felt a migraine coming on and I took it, I knew that feeling of it's gone, but it's not all the way gone. I feel something still in the background. So I massaged some oils into her neck. And she was at Bridget's house that night making the oils. I kid you not. They work that fast. I can tell you story upon story of people that I have given an oil to and that disbelieved and walked away and came back and said, "Ah, okay." We're at a conference, and this guy came by with a headache, and that's a head pain, and they were given they gave him an oil, and he put it on, and he had not gotten all the way to the next booth, and he stopped and turned around, and he said, "Oh, it was gone." Aloes, sandalwood. Okay, this is interesting. That's okay. I'm just going to pass them to them, and I'm going to talk about them, and you can go ahead and pass them around. John 19:39, and there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Jesus by night and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100-pound weight. worth 150 to 200,000 in today's market. Modern uses are skincare, enhance deeper sleep, support female reproduction and the endocrine system, and UTIs. So this is the aloes and sandalwood. Bible talks about aloes and sandalwoods, and they believe that these are of the same. Okay. What I'm going to do is kind of give you an idea of how this book works. And I'm looking up the oils as we go. And this is the reference guide for essential oils by abundanthealthforyou.com. And on sandalwood, it talks about the botanical family, the extraction method, the chemical constituents, properties, antidepressant, antiseptic, anti-tumor, astringent, calming, sedative, and tonic. It helps back pain, coma, confusion, hiccups, laryngitis, Lou Gehrig's multiple sclerosis, radiation, wrinkles, yoga. It has also the folklore behind the oil and the historical uses of the oils. I find this book fascinating to read as you're studying the oils. It gives other possible uses. It says that it affects the emotional balance, muscle and bone, and the nervous system and the skin under the body's systems that are affected. The aromatic influence calms and harmonizes. The application and the Vitaflex points, which are at the beginning of the book, talks about what part of the ear, feet, and hands to put the oils in order to touch your concern. And it goes into, remember we talked earlier about the electrical impulses in our bodies. This particular one has 96 megahertz. And what do our bodies run? Around 62. Okay, so you're saying to me 96 megahertz. Am I going to overdose? No, it doesn't work that way. This is not a medicine. These are oils. You're not going to overdose. You just need to know your body and what you need. Okay. Let's move on to cinnamon, cassia. Now we will pass this around and you all can smell it, but please do not apply it. I made the mistake of applying it. I didn't read my reference guide first, and I applied it. And if you think I'm red now, I was really red then. I thought I was having a hot flash, but apparently it was the cassia. And it did give me a real nice, I felt fine, but people were kind of concerned. And again, cassia.
Did it burn? Was it hot? What?
I didn't notice it. I just didn't. They took fans out and put them on me, and I'm like, oh, don't worry, I'm just having a hot flash, you know. I didn't think anything of it. And but I will tell you what I learned from that experience is you don't put water on an oil. Okay, if you have a reaction to an oil that is heat or any type of burning or anything like that, you don't go, just like a cut, you don't go, or not a cut, but a burn on the stove, you don't go and put it under water. You combat an oil with an oil. I find that myrrh is fantastic for that, and I hear a lot of people use things like lavender if they have a bad reaction to an oil. Just grab the lavender out or the myrrh and go over it, and it'll calm it right down. Okay, so you don't need to be uncomfortable. I have not ever heard of anybody having permanent damage from something like that. It may be uncomfortable, but it shouldn't permanently harm you that I am aware of. Okay, so as I look at the cassia in this book, it gives the historical uses, the application, none, which is what I would have known had I read this first on this part. The oral use, you can take it orally, but it does need to be high dilution. Then it gives the safety, and it says it has an intensity of 5, and it's spicy, warm, and sweet, and that it is. It is fantastic. Cassia was a key ingredient in the temple incense. All thy garments smell of myrrh and aloes and cassia out of the ivory places whereby they have made thee glad. Psalms 45:8. Used to protect the Israelites from disease. Modern uses fights bacteria and viruses, supports our immune system against colds and flus by simply inhaling them and put them on the soles of our feet. All right, moving right along. Cedarwood, another one of my favorites. Highest of any oil of sesquiterpenes. I'm saying that right. Somebody please say it when I do that, okay? That's your cue. Somebody's missing their cue. King Solomon's temple built from the cedars of Lebanon. And I had something on that. I wonder if this has got it. It was just a fantastic, I didn't bring it with it. Insect repellent, hair loss, tuberculosis, bronchitis. It helps with full night's sleep, skin disorders, acne psoriasis. Cedarwood obviously will make you feel very, very nice too. It stimulates that pineal gland. And it's one of my favorites. I've got a big bottle of that. And that is cedarwood. Now I have this really bad habit of going on while the oils are going around. Everybody forgets what oil they're on. Or I forget what oil you're on because I'm on another oil. Something like that. But cedarwood, this goes into the properties of being antifungal, anti-infectious, antiseptic, astringent, diuretic, insect repellent, and sedative. It's calming, helps with cellulite, hair loss, tension, tuberculosis, infection, and meditation, yoga. It goes into the historical uses, the French medicinal uses. And I always say we always want to know what the French are doing, don't we? Other possible uses. Gives the biblical references in here. How cool is that? So that is for the cedarwood. And we're going to move on to cypress. Cypress oil is mentioned in a Babylonian tablet dating 1800 BC. Ancient uses. You know, I'm going to read that right out of here. Cypress. Oh. Here we go. That is cypress. Antibacterial, anti-infectious, antimicrobial, antiseptic, astringent, deodorant, diuretic, lymphatic, prostate, decongestant, refreshing, relaxing, vasoconstrictor. Common primary uses: aneurysm, bunion, bursitis, carpal tunnel, cataracts, concussion, deodorant, hemorrhoids, herniated disc, Lou Gehrig's disease, muscle fatigue, nosebleed, Raynaud's, I know it's Raynaud's disease, shingles, stroke, toxemia, tuberculosis, varicose veins. Here's the folklore and the historical, and the French, of course. Other possible uses: asthma, blood capillary walls, circulatory system. Aromatic influence strengthens, eases the feeling of loss. Sometimes, you know, we don't have to have gone through loss to feel loss. And that's why, even though, you know, we apply these for our well-being and to help ourselves and things like that, we still want to diffuse them into the air, and it just gives you a sense of well-being. It gives you what it blends well with. That is cypress.
I have a really awesome story to share for cypress.
Fantastic. Yes, please.
Cypress was the one that sold me on oils. It was my son put his hand through a glass window last summer. He was pounding on the playhouse that we have in the backyard, and his hand went through it, and he cut it wide open, and it was bleeding everywhere. We couldn't get the bleeding to stop. And then I remembered somebody said cypress stops bleeding.
Really?
So I ran in and got my oil, and if anywhere you put it on your body, it takes the blood to that spot. So you put cypress anywhere other than where the blood is coming out. So I put the blood on his left arm because he was bleeding on his right knuckle. And within 5 seconds, the bleeding had stopped, and I could see all the way down to his tendon. It had completely cleared out, and there was no blood ever,
How cool is
no
that?
blood left at all. So it stops nosebleed, it stops when you pull over his tooth. The bleeding just immediately stops. It's the coolest oil.
I have never heard that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Very.
That is neat. You make me want to try that, but I'm like, well, I can't really try that.
Just open the window.
I guess that's
you can try it.
not a safe idea. Not to be done, you know, with everybody watching. Frankincense. Now, this is a fantastic, absolutely all-around great oil. I mean, it's just it. It is it. Matthew 2:11. And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented him gifts to him of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. I'm going to look up what this book says that it helps. This reference guide. Okay, it's anticatarrhal, anti-cancer, antidepressant, anti-infections, anti-inflammatory, antiseptic, antitumoral, expectorant, immune stimulant, and sedative. Common primary uses: arthritis, asthma, brain injury, coma, concussion, confusion, coughs, depression, infection, inflammation, laryngitis, Lou Gehrig's, mental fatigue, moles. I've heard of people putting this on their moles and their moles go away. Multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, scarring, tumor, ulcer, warts, and wrinkles. There are over 52 references of frankincense in the Bible. Considering that incense is translated from Hebrew Greek frankincense and either refers to the same oil or a mixture, which frankincense was one of the ingredients. It was in the holy anointing oil. French used it for asthma, depression, ulcers. This is just an overall oil. I mean, you don't know what else to use, grab the frankincense. It's just one of those. And it is a great meditation oil as well. Can I give you the frankincense? Galbanum. Exodus 30. Thank you. 34 to 35. And the Lord said to Moses, take sweet spices, stacia and onycha, and galbanum, and pure frankincense. With these sweet spices there shall be equal amounts of each. You shall make, thank you. You shall make of these an incense, a compound according to the art of the perfumer. Other versions will say apocarp, salted, pure, and holy. And I'm going to look up in our reference guide what it says galbanum helps with. Analgesic, anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antiseptic, antispasmodic, antiviral, diuretic, expectorant, restorative, and tonic. Historically, it was used for incense and embalming. You know, and let me talk about that for a minute, because, you know, really, biblically, they used a lot of spices and oils in the burial process, and these were very expensive oils. They cared so much for their loved one that they spared no expense in their burial process. I just find that just fascinating that they took something that was for treating wounds and inflammations, skin disorders, and lovingly, tenderly anointed their loved one before burying them. Body system affected is the immune system, meditation and spiritual awareness, and harmonizing and balance. Okay, that's galbanum. Did we do the hyssop? Thank you. I know Sue offered. I guess I should say, yeah. Thank you. Exodus 12:22. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop, dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two basin doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. And let's look up hyssop. You guys are having way too much fun. Okay, for hyssop, the properties are anti-asthmatic, anticatarrhal, anti-infectious, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-parasitic, antiseptic, antispasmodic, antiviral, astringent, decongestant, diuretic, sedative. Common primary use: kidney stones. Aromatic influence stimulates the creative part of your mind, and also promotes meditation and centering. Now, another thing about this book that I'm going to let you know that if there's something that you should be aware of, a safety issue with that oil, they'll tell you. Like, I have borderline high blood pressure. It's not high. It's just below being high blood pressure. I'm not quite there yet. And these oils have kept me there. I don't know if I can say that either. Yes, but I'm also seeing a chiropractor. So, all that plays into my good health and well-being, thankfully. But the one thing I found out is that it will tell me, if you have high blood pressure, don't use this oil, or use it very carefully, or use it sparingly. It will tell you that. So whatever your concerns are, read and reference, look at your references, because it's very important so you know what you can and cannot take based on your concerns. Thank you. Myrrh. This is one of my favorites, and I could probably say that about absolutely every one of these oils. It's mentioned in Genesis, Revelations, Matthew, Mark. The most frequently mentioned oil of the Bible, it is mentioned 156 times. And it is a beautiful oil. You've got to take it and look at it. It is so pretty. The gift of myrrh given to Jesus at his birth would have also benefited Mary, as myrrh is known for skin conditions. And let's look up myrrh in our reference guide. Common primary uses: skin allergies, cracked skin, dysentery, Hashimoto's disease, hyperthyroidism, impetigo, inflammation, stretch marks, ulcers. Myrrh was used as incense in religious rituals, in embalming, and as a cure for cancer, leprosy, and syphilis. Myrrh mixed with coriander and honey was used to treat herpes. And like I said, these are from this book is from scientists that put this together based on these particular oils. French medicinal uses are bronchitis, diarrhea, dysentery, hyperthyroidism, stretch marks, thrush, ulcers, body systems affected, hormonal, immune, nervous system, and skin. You guys are having too much fun with those oils. All right, myrtle. Properties: antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, antiparasitic, antiseptic, astringent, expectorant, decongestant, deodorizer. Primary uses: coughs, deodorizer, flu, influenza, hypothyroidism. Bronchitis, coughs, flu, insomnia, sinus infection, tuberculosis.
Which one are you talking about?
This is myrtle.
That's what you said.
It is for hypothyroid. It's just French medicinal uses hypothyroid. Also, in the common primary uses, according to this book, it was used for hypothyroid. For low thyroid. Do you have low thyroid?
I just guess.
Okay, just curious, because I do. That's why I was wondering. It's a sweet, slightly camphorous with a floral hint, and it's just these myrrh and myrtle are just really, really pretty oils. Myrtle is mentioned in Nehemiah 8:15, Esther 2:7, Isaiah 41:19, 55:13, and Zechariah 1:7-11. Myrtle is effective for normalizing hormonal imbalances of the thyroid, hypothyroid, ovaries, and soothing of the respiratory system. And this research was done by Daniel Knoll, MD, France. That's where these came from, this reference of the uses for your concerns. Annika. Exodus 30:34. I was going to have y'all look all these up, but I think I'm taking long enough as it is. It's valued for its ability to speed wound healing and prevent infection. Ancient uses: perfume, blended in holy anointing oils, comforting, soothing, uplifting, and ointment to heal skin wounds, used as a fixative. And let's look it up in our reference guide and see what the reference guide says. And this is where most of this came from, but just in case there's something else there, here it's a good place to look. Its common primary uses for warming. Gives you a feeling of calmness. Cardiovascular system, emotional balance, and skin. It's warming and soothing to the heart. This essence creates a kind of euphoria. It may also help with overcoming sadness, loneliness, depression, and anxiety. It's comforting and uplifting. Rose of Sharon. We only have 2 left. Song of Solomon 2:1, Genesis 37:25, and 43:11. The rose of Sharon of the Bible was cistus, also known as rock rose, cistus ladanum, and labdanum. This is not the rose that we think of today. It's not like the roses that you want to grow in your garden. And let's look up that in our reference guide. Oh, yeah, cistus. I'm in the wrong place. Thank you.
While you're hunting that, I will tell you, this is an awesome, wonderful, best ever for sciatic. If you put a drop and cover it with peppermint, it is absolutely fabulous.
We were at
pain that goes down your leg.
Oh, yeah. We were at a general conference, and this lady came up to our booth, and she wanted to learn about the oils, and I'm teaching her the reference guide, because this is what I teach from. And the whole time she's fidgeting. And I'm like, did I misunderstand? Is this not what you wanted? She goes, no, this is what I wanted. I said, so you do want me to go into this detail? She wanted to know a lot. And she's like, yes, I do. I said, okay, because I'm just kind of sensing that you are in a hurry, maybe, and I don't want to keep you if you're in a hurry. She says, no, you don't understand. I hurt, and it's the area that somebody had mentioned previously. And I said to Bridget and her daughter, I said, what should she use? And they said, well, try this cistus. I gave this cistus, Rose of Sharon. I walked with her to the ladies' washroom. She went in the stall, and she had barely closed the door and locked the door and come back out. I mean, she was like that. And I'm like, who had time to even use this oil? And she says, it's gone. She said, I have been hurting all day long, and it's gone. And she is not the first person. I've left samples for people that have that concern, where their nerves that go down their leg, something happens, they're pinched or something, I'm not quite sure, but somehow it's painful. So, cistus. Yep, it says right here, common primary uses: sciatica, antimicrobial, antiseptic, astringent, diuretic, expectorant, tonic. Other possible uses: stops bleeding, boils, bronchitis, colds, coughs, rhinitis, wounds, wrinkles, boosts the immune system. May also assist in the autoimmune system. So that is a fantastic oil.
Can you use that as a cleaner?
Rose of Sharon? Let me look. Well, yeah, I was going to say it's antimicrobial, antiseptic, astringent, things like that, but I would use more of a thieves property. Because that is more.
You can make that drop too.
Yeah. More spray or something like that. I would use it more like that, but not for deep cleaning.
That would be really potent.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Spikenard. Song of Solomon 1:2, 4:13 and 14, Matthew 26:67, Luke 7:36-38. Mark and John also talk about spikenard. It has a very high. Somebody say the word.
Cisplaterpin.
Thank you. 93%, the third highest of all known oils. So let me look this up in our reference guide. Antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, deodorant, relaxing, skin tonic. Is also known for helping in the treatment of allergic skin reactions. Candida, insomnia, migraine, nausea, emotional balance in skin. Aromatic creates balance, it's soothing and harmonizing. That's spikenard. When God created this world, He created everything naturally for us, and He gave us every substance that we would ever need to protect our bodies from all the things that we have to deal with, just like He gave the Israelites, just like in the Old Testament. There's supposed to be nutrients in our food. We are supposed to be having these as the plants absorb and draw nutrients from the ground, and it goes through the fluid of the plant and we ingest it. We're supposed to have these health benefits. They're supposed to be there. I don't know where it got lost, but somehow we've lost that. Okay. Revelations 22:2, in the midst of its street. Now remember, this sounds a lot like Ezekiel, but now we're in Revelations, and it says, in the middle of its streets and on either side of the river was the tree of life, which bore 12 fruits, each tree yielding its fruit every month. The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. In a nutshell, Third John 1:2, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers. Jeremiah 29:11. Can you read that for me during your Bible?
Yeah, you said
Oh.
up there.
Ooh, that's big. Mine's so small. Jeremiah 29:11. 12 oils of ancient scripture contains the 12 most significant oils found in the Bible. Is Young Living's wish in bringing them to you is that you will savor and enjoy the beautiful fragrances and invigorating histories of these precious, pure essential oils. Young Living draws on travels to biblical lands and explains the 12 oils on an audio CD and included in this collection. Things to look for. Are you ready? 29:11, Jeremiah, go ahead.
Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end.
So God always intended for us to prosper and be in health. It was never His intention that we would struggle. Okay, and this world just tends to push us down, and that was never the thought or the intention. How many of you here are on essential rewards? Okay. Let me tell you a little story real quick. My husband, when he pumps gas, he shakes the hose to make sure he gets every drop that he paid for of gasoline. Okay, he does that. And then he also only gets his gasoline at a certain store. No matter where we travel, we have to find that gas station because he gets points for using that gas station. And those points, after he fills up a couple times, he can go get a donut. Okay? Yeah. So this is exciting to him, you know. He builds some points, you know. Now, essential rewards is so much more than that, but the mentality is still the same. It is to build a relationship with you. It is to be where you go to get your oils. It is to compensate you for using them. Okay, when you sign up for Essential Rewards, you can talk to your upline about everything that's involved in it. But we need the same mentality. We need to say, you know, that we're going to invest in this, that it's worth so much more to us. So, you know, when you look at Essential Rewards, basically you're looking at taking care of you, and God always meant for you to prosper And Essential Rewards is set up in that way to reward you and to help you prosper. It's Young Living's intent that you do well. It's Young Living's intent. That's why the starter kit is just so phenomenal and such a great value, is because they want you to use the oils. They want you to be able to use the oils and know how to. And they know that when you first begin, it's overwhelming. And so they say, okay, let's just start here. Here's the basics. Okay, learn these. And then as you get used to this, you start using your reference guide, learn how to study it, and you start investing in yourself, and Young Living in turn invests in you. Okay, and that's what Essential Rewards is all about. And I just wanted you to know that God always meant for you to prosper, and Young Living follows that with their Essential Rewards. One last thing to look for in essential oils. If you do like I did, went to Target, looked for something with essential oils in it, had no idea what I was doing. They need to be stored in a dark glass. It needs to be organic. The only ingredient should be that oil. There shouldn't be anything else. There should be no preservatives, no chemicals. For a true, pure oil, no preservatives are actually needed. How cool is that? Extracted by steam and distillation at minimal temperatures and pressures with optimal time frames. No chemical solvent should be used in the distillation process. 10 reasons why you should use Young Living essential oils. Detoxify the cells and blood. They're scientifically documented to carry the highest level of oxygen known to man. Cancer cannot grow in an oxygen-rich environment. Stimulate the production of certain enzymes. They're small enough to pass through the blood-brain barrier. And this brings me back to the purity. Okay, if essential oils are going to go into your blood-brain barrier, you certainly don't want pesticides going into your blood-brain barrier. You certainly don't want preservatives going into your blood-brain barrier. So it's important that you know that Young Living owns their own farms. They don't buy their oils from some other farm, not knowing what they've sprayed on them. If the soil was carrying the nutrients that the plants need, they have their own farm, so they have full control of that. They have the seed to still guarantee. They need to be antibacterial, and Young Living oils are antibacterial, antifungal, anti-infectious, antimicrobial, antiparasitic, antiviral. They provide natural pain relief. If I say amen, boosts the immune system, protects against cancer, are more potent than fresh or dry herbs, which I discussed with my tea ideas. And they have, as far as we know, no side effects. You know, when you go and you pick up your prescription, there's some side effects that you need to be concerned about. And so far with these oils, there's never, as far as I know, there has not been something that has been permanent or couldn't be fixed. They don't bring that hazard to your life. And with that, I bid you adieu.
Thank you so much for doing that. We were so excited when we heard there was like a Bible class. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I know the weather did not cooperate us all. When it started snowing, we were like, I thought it was supposed to be flurries. I thought it was a really big snowflakes. Like, there's 20 people supposed to come tonight. So I thank you guys for coming out. I know I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We really learned a lot. I do have some flyers from the Everyday Oils class. If you're new to oils and you just want to learn a little bit more about them, I can make a copy for you. I'll make a copy for you. I was just thinking about that while I was sitting there. So that's from kind of the 101 class, and I'll be happy to share that with you. And with that, if you have any questions, come by and talk to us. We have the book that she was teaching out of. We keep it at the office. So if you ever have a question that you can't find by Googling, we'll be happy to just give us a call at the office. We'll be happy to look it up for you. I do it a lot, and I'll take a picture and text it to you. I'm happy to do that for you.
That's cool.
Yeah. So what's your number?
Yeah.
I put our card on your chairs. So.
Yeah, on your chairs also are some biblical references for each oil. That is just a small amount of biblical references for the oils. They are in there many times. And then some concerns are addressed in the other one so that you can see what the biblical oils are focused on. But if you have any questions?
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks for having us.